So in this modern workplace, you have to deal with many instances where men are working with women and they're getting a bit frustrated with the girl boss type of archetype here, right? So often this is the type of behavior you have to deal with. We're going to see some examples where women engaged in trade work, right? Even a kind of home care DIY type of work, but it's the same type of dynamic you'll have to deal with in the workplace. Let's look at some of these clips here.
You think because I'm a girl I can't do this? I know how to drill a screw into a board. I can do it.
I was trying to be nice.
Well, I can do it. I don't need you to hover over me and everything that I'm
not
doing.
hovering over you.
Yes, you are. You're watching me and then you're like, oh, she can't do it. Do you need help?
I never said you can't do it. I asked if you wanted my help.
I don't need your help. I can do this. I've been watching you do it 100 times already. Why can't you think I just can't do it? I can do it.
Ma'am, the drill is in reverse. You just can't make this stuff up. She really puts the strong in strong and independent, doesn't she?
Alright, how heavy is this?
12 pounds.
Not bad. Is right through there?
Yep.
I'm kind of scared. I've never done this before. This is kind of fun and hard. This is a workout. Wow. Are you feeling ripped today?
Feeling sweaty.
I feel weak. Am I doing a good job?
You're doing a great job, honey.
I think we should see how you can do it.
There's so much wrong here, I'm not even sure where to begin. Flip-flops, ma'am? Really?
It's the type of ridiculousness you have to deal with, not just in working in the trades, but also when you're at the workplace, right? So if you want to be a successful employee, male or female, you need to be smart, you need to have strength, physical and mental strength, and you need to have patience too, right, to make things happen. Now, if we look at the first case where the woman was screwing the screw in reverse, with the drill in reverse, right, so she couldn't get the screw into the wooden board here. A man is trying to be helpful, and if you're trying to be helpful, you're going to be called mansplaining, right? She doesn't have the patience or the poise or the politeness to actually take in the guidance she's being given. You'll be working with a female co-worker, but she'll be behaving like an unruly wife like this. Then you have the woman who can't undo this particular container, right, and open it like a blender bottle. I'm not sure she's doing it the right way around. It looks a bit weird. I don't know if she's doing it in reverse. She's not unscrewing it the right way. But the thing is she's having a complete emotional meltdown over this. And you see this in the office too, right? It's not just restricted to the trades or you're doing basic kitchen activities. It's basically like this constant emotional breakdown. She's crying. She's putting herself on social media. She wants someone to help. You have to deal with this in the office too. You have female co-workers who will be getting special treatment by senior management because they're sucking up to senior management, or senior management likes them because they conduct themselves in the right, most professional way, politically correct way. And then they have a good dynamic there, but they don't know what they're doing, and they're always relying on male co-workers to do a lot of the work. And then the other thing is around the woman who's doing this, right? The level of delusion. Clearly she's not strong or physically fit enough to do this, but she thinks she can. You see these type of instances in the gym where a woman might be trying to lift weight that is way too heavy for them because they want to compete with men. Women who want to work long hours that men might work because men have more stamina, because men and women have different physical capabilities, different mental capabilities, and people only want to say, oh, we have different physical capabilities, we also have different mental capabilities. Typically a man's brain is bigger than a woman's brain. That's real. That's not like some misogynistic stereotype. Different blood flow, different oxygen flow. Men are built physically for combat, so they have all these different advantages: quicker decision making, less indecisive, dealing with pressure a lot better. All these things are typical for men versus women. So when we have to pretend and treat women like children in the workplace to give them special treatment and things like this, can you imagine a male doing this, acting in this type of way? He wouldn't be taken seriously. It's the same thing with this woman doing this. She's perpetually scared. She's doing things very slow. And when we're led to believe that, oh, woman could do everything that a man can do better, right? The future is female. Can women build civilization the way men can? And the answer is no. And this is the ridiculousness of the modern world, particularly with white women in the workplace, where you have to give them all this special treatment and they're not really doing the job particularly well, but because you've built this Western civilization based on simping, right? It's a simp civilization. They're simping at a civilizational level, and it impacts every daily interaction where you are in the workplace, right? In what sense are these women strong and independent? Emotionally strong? No. Physically strong? No. Independent? No. They need a man to guide them throughout everything, right? They're scared of every little thing you do, particularly in this last clip. Everything, oh, why is it smoking? I'm scared of this. Oh, this is moving. This is the type of thing that they get uncomfortable with, right? So it's like, in what sense can they do they understand things? Can they do things independently without constantly needing a man's guidance, right? So let's look at some of the comments here. Why help when you'd be called a creep as a man or sued? No thanks, you can be independent and strong by yourself. Many people thought Mike Pence was ridiculous for saying he won't be alone with a woman that wasn't his wife. He wasn't being overly religious, he was avoiding lawsuits. Now, Mike Pence, if you don't know, who was the vice president with Trump during his initial run in 2016, what happened there in that instance is that Mike Pence, the vice president, refused to go to political dinners with female co-workers unless his wife was present because he didn't want to get accused of anything, right? And then we've got all these type of comments. So someone saying, what is the level of raw, unfiltered narcissism to film yourself trying to open a jar? These people are beyond help. She's literally twisting it the wrong way. I think she was going the wrong way around when she was trying to unscrew that particular thing. See, this is the thing, right? It's like the ridiculousness you have to deal with on a daily basis.
You can't keep your legs.
This one, it says POV, when you realize that only 4 to 6% of airline pilots and 8% of military pilots are women. So women are an extreme minority when it comes to pilots. So let's listen to how a man's going to react to this.
Wait a second, wait.
When you realize only 4 to 6% of airline pilots and 8% of military pilots are women. I agree with her. That is way too much. It should be 0%. Bro, if I get on a plane and I see my pilot is female, praying, dear Lord Jesus, have mercy on me. If I die today, please don't send me to hell. Bro.
So what he's saying here, and there's been recent cases a few months ago whereby you have the DEI hires, you have female pilots who they've had to meet their quota for more gender equality. You're flying planes and then they crash. There's high stress situations. They overreact emotionally and then they cry and ask men for stability and help because they can't deal with that emotional outburst they have when it comes to a plane being in massive turbulence and things like this, right? So this is quite common. And if you see all these women on TikTok who are crying constantly every time they have some difficulty in life, in what case are women fit to fly a plane when there could be a chance of crashing, massive instability and turbulence? Is it really smart to make women pilots? You can come to your own conclusion about that. Next, let's listen to this woman talking about working with men.
So I used to work with all men, and people would always be like, oh, you must get hit on all the time if you work with all men. But what I had to explain was that actually in settings where it's like 70% men, 30% women, the women get hit on all the time. But in this case, I was literally the only woman on a 20-person team. And in those cases, the men just act like there are no women there and they ignore you. At least that's what I told myself.
As mentioned earlier.
So with all due respect, I don't think she was getting hit on too much, right, based on the way she looks. But apart from that, in a more professional work environment, still rather be, this is a double-edged sword, right? If you're not being over helpful to a woman, she's going to say you're ignoring her, you're not including her in the work. If you are too helpful, she could feel uncomfortable or being problematic or clingy. You can't win in each situation, right? They expect you to be a simp or a beta orbiter in the workplace, right? And then they call you a creep if it's convenient for them, right? If you compliment them, joke around with them, have banter with them, it could be a risk. Now, the whole point here I'm trying to make out is that this is very common in workplaces. I've seen it in tech departments of major investment banks whereby you have like one female employee, then everyone has to basically help her out on all her work and give her extra special treatment. And it's a complete biased and ridiculous situation. I can't believe people actually get away with it.
Anybody want to talk to me?
I'm going to fuck all fuck this. I'm done.
Exhausted, but I'm good. Thank you. Good.
Bro made a mistake. He should have told her you have a pretty face, so she would put a brown bag over her face and come to work. But take it in how the man controls her hairstyle either way. She's doing the opposite for him. He's living in her head rent-free. You can't be complimenting women at work. They're gonna make fake harassment cases because that's all they're good at. Straight to HR. Most of HR is made up of women. You're double screwed then. Gonna get your bummer fired. Man, don't lose your job over threes acting all that. It's not worth it.
So we're going to go through this in a bit of detail because that was quite a quick clip.
Ship can be stunted.
So this is maybe a stage thing, right? So it's work drinks and a woman, no one wants to talk with her, right? Now, interacting with a woman at work drinks, particularly after work in the evening, is a risk, right? Because almost anything you say, she could reframe it as you being inappropriate, right? And the type of things I'm always conscious of is what's actually going on after work. Is alcohol involved? What are people discussing, their personal lives? And all types of personal lives do get discussed, and inappropriate discussions do happen in jokes, and you don't want to get associated with that, and the next thing you're just going to HR or someone and having a go at you, right? So that's completely a risk, and it makes sense why men might ignore women at some of these events. I personally would only attend when I needed to, or it was going to benefit my career, and leave early so I don't get accused of anything. Now, the other thing here is a funny instance whereby a woman is quitting her construction job. She's shouting and swearing about it. She can't deal with the pressure and the stress of it. She can't even quit professionally, right? And these are the type of things, no matter where you work, in the construction field, in the trades, in the office, you have to deal with emotional outbursts from female co-workers, right? Like a childish, entitled child, a toddler going through their terrible twos, like complete crash out that kids do. But you have to be stoic. You have to be calm. You have to be emotionally stable. It puts you at risk because you have to cover for the work she's not doing, right? You have to help her. You have to help her manage her emotional outburst and her self-esteem at work. This is the ridiculousness of some of these girl boss types in the workplace environments. And then the next thing is, we have this example where a male co-worker complimented her hair and said she looks good with her hair down. So she decided to put a hairband in her hair so her hair was up, so he doesn't compliment her again. And then we've got this based migrant who's saying, listen, look, you can't compliment co-workers. And he quickly figured out the game where he's basically like, oh, if you compliment female co-workers, she's going to complain about it, or she's going to act passive aggressive about it. So don't do that, right? And this is the type of thing. You're at work, you can't give compliments, can't make jokes, at risk of being cancelled at all times. Everything has to be politically correct, and specifically this demographic, right? This type of white woman who's going to engage in pushing all the politically correct liberal feminist agendas, the cancel culture, and all this type of thing. And then you're going to have to deal with it. And like you say, people are getting fed up with it and they're being more open with it. It's not just me, other men are picking up on these type of biases too. And this is why what ends up happening is when you're dealing with these type of co-workers, your best approach is to keep communication short, don't be in the friend zone, don't be the emotional tampon. And just to explain what the emotional tampon is typically you have a lot of male co-workers that'll be overly friendly to a female co-worker. They'll be the simp, they'll be the beta orbiter. She wants to vent about all her emotional outbursts, go for a coffee off the desk away from work to vent about her work environment. And it's like, I don't really want to talk with you. I don't want to listen to you vent for like 20 minutes going for a coffee. I'd rather just get the coffee by myself. So there've been times, 1 or 2 times where I did it and I realized, oh, this is what women use the coffee break for, just to vent and dump their emotions on you. So you can be an emotional tampon. And after the second time, I just always refuse to go to coffee with other people. I just go myself. And then let's look at some other clips.
Hey, dummies. Stop messaging women during work hours. They're using it as a chat buddy. They don't care about you. They want your entertainment attention. Oh, make me feel good. Oh, I'm having a rough day. Oh, sweetie, what's wrong? They're using you, you bunch of dorks. Don't talk to a woman unless it's in her free time. If she's not talking to you in her free time, she doesn't care about you. You're just being used. Prove me wrong, ladies. Prove me wrong, ladies.
This guy's spurging out a bit. It's a bit crazy. It might be on the spectrum, who knows? But the point is that this is the type of situation where guys go to work and, like I said, they're emotional tampons. They listen to woman whinge, or what I call it, which is the white woman whinge, right? Or just whinging female co-workers in general. I'm not going to be like emotional support for you just so you can have someone to dump your emotions on, which should be your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, but it's not going to be me. It's like men are given this carrot on a stick that they're chasing, or this female validation, female attention. It's just ridiculous. I noticed that game very earlier in my career and I just didn't engage with it.
For others, it is very much dead. They are very much in a state in their relationship where it's just pure servitude. And I'm not talking to one another, I'm talking about existing in life. So you have the couple that live together and seem like everything's cushy, but inside that home, he goes to work, she goes to work, they pay their bills, they come back, they watch TV, they might get the odd takeaway, have a little time in the bedroom, and then that's it. That's the relationship. There is no romance. When we start seeing romance again, I feel like the dating game will change.
So let's go through this clip in a bit of detail. So what she's saying here is, what is modern relationships now? Because people are working, women are in the workplace, men are working, high living costs, can't afford to really do much. So people are working all the time, and when they have a bit of a break, they are watching Netflix or sleeping or spending some brief time with their significant other in a relationship, right? And firstly, my first point of advice would be, it depends on your circumstances, but you might want to focus on being single. And I know this is a frequent talking point online. I think as a man, you can achieve a lot being single versus being in a relationship, where a woman wants all your free time to be spent in pointless consumerism. Because if you're in a relationship, how are you going to spend your evening? Watching Netflix, right? Or watching some other dumb TV show that she wants to watch. What are you going to do on the weekend? Go out and go to an expensive restaurant, or just hang out, do nothing, right? So a woman can have the attention she needs from her husband or a partner. Is that really worth it? Or could you be building a side hustle so you can guarantee your freedom? Do you want to F around with a woman, or do you want your freedom and finances to be correct, right? I'd rather have the freedom and finances personally. Now, men are tired of work and you're not getting anything out of society, woman or work, so they're disengaged and disassociated socially, even when they're in a relationship, right? So the relationship seems like it's not worth it. And also, just to add to this point, if people are in these dead end or dead bedroom relationships, dead end relationships, where they're just like hanging out with their co-workers after work for drinks, maybe hang around with their wife or girlfriend in whatever little free times available, is you have a lot of people who are cheating on their significant other with their partner at work. We went through the Coldplay example in another video. You've got all these men who are just maybe not in relationships and isolated from society. You have a very broken dynamic. So you have a really dysfunctional situation where it makes sense why men are avoiding women at work. They're seeing there's a risk there. They're avoiding women in their personal life. You just have a broader sense of just dysfunction.
And saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. And they're almost proud, happy about the fact that they're gonna choose and make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves. Men saying, I've just
So what is this war within that she's talking about, right? Let's go through it in a bit of detail, right? People in the comments firstly posting funny things. You keep telling yourself that, darling, it's not a war within myself, it's the peace within myself. I've done it for the last 7 years. I've never experienced more peace in my life. And as an added benefit, I do what I want 24/7. There's no woman I'd prefer to be in a relationship with. The panic has started. Soon women will learn they need to provide and support for men. I'm not risking my peace for someone who can only offer conditional love. Avoiding relationships is not avoiding women. There's too many unrealistic expectations from women. It's not a war within ourselves. We're just tired of women's mind games. So what's actually going on here? Let's say, right, it's not a war within, it's actually men who are avoiding women who could create issues for them in their career at work, right? The other thing is you have men who are in a war for their freedom and their finances. They see the direction of society and they're fighting for their freedom, they're fighting for their finances. They're looking for better options in their life outside of mainstream society. Men are avoiding women at work. They want to keep everything in context of the workplace environment. They want to maybe keep a third person in the meeting room so they don't have one-on-one meetings with a woman where a woman could cancel them. I remember Bloomberg News reporting after the whole Me Too scandal where many men in corporate environments in Wall Street would keep the door open when they had a one-to-one meeting with a woman, or they would invite someone else to attend the meeting because they don't want to get cancelled several years later. There's a very important metaphor, in the comments if you know what this is. It's called the longhouse. Now, longhouse is explaining how in the workplace environment or in society in general, you have a nanny state, you have over-feminization of the workplace, of the society at large, where everything's safe and politically correct and you can't be edgy. There's no sense of danger and excitement because everything's like been bubble wrap and made comfortable for women. So as a man, you can't even make a joke or have banter or have a fun time because everything's super safe and everything has to meet all these requirements of what opinions you can and can't have. It's this very strict, constricted environment. And that is what the workplace feels like, and even other environments like the gym, any social space, right? There's restrictions on speech. And what men want, they want more room, they want more freedom, they want more free thought. And that's what it's like working with men typically compared to women. And constantly on edge as a man in the work environment, being cautious about all your interactions and the control framework in place to cancel you as a man if you say something that's inappropriate, things like that, is putting a lot of men under stress, right? Like I say, if you explain something to a woman, it's called mansplaining. complaining. And there's a very important term here I want to explain is Schrodinger's feminist, which I'm going to come on to in a second. Thing I want to tell you, I was working at an investment bank, which I won't name now, and I asked them, why is there so much focus, after HR, why was there so much focus on promoting and hiring women, of giving all these women the special treatment? I asked the DEI department actually, and they said, well, we're particularly fearful of gender discrimination lawsuits, which have been very successful in previous years, and they're quite common. So they effectively, what they're doing to avoid lawsuits from women suing them, they deliberately give women special treatment so they can never be accused of treating women unfairly compared to men. And I was speaking to a female employee in the DEI department, so she was basically saying it word for word, that listen, we don't want a gender discrimination lawsuit because those are common, so we give women special treatment. And she knew what she was kind of, even though she worded it a bit nicer than that. So it's like there is a bias for women, because the legal system and the government and the culture and the corporations all biased in women, because any moment they can play the victim and get whatever they want and get, you know, compensation and things like that. So now I want to teach you a final term called Schrodinger's feminist, right? And this is when women switch when it's convenient for them. They can play the victim when it's convenient for them, and they can be empowered when it's convenient for them, right? So they want equality when it benefits them, but they want traditional privileges and special treatment when the equality doesn't work for them, right? So for example, she wants equality when it comes to promotion opportunities, but she also insists that her workload is reduced for work-life balance. She wants traditional privileges like a man paying for dinner on a date when it's convenient for her, but even if she's earning the same salary as a man, she's not going to go 50-50 with the man, right? And then she switches between the two whenever it's convenient for her. When it's convenient, she's the damsel in distress who needs to be saved, and when it's convenient for her, she's the strong, independent woman. And it leads to high risk social environments for men, and it becomes quite undesirable for a man to be interacting with a woman in a workplace when she has this trash attitude that we started with here, right? Where she's complaining about a man who telling her that her drill is in reverse so she can't screw it. Or you're dealing with an over-emotional woman where if you tried to help her, she might take it the wrong way, and then you're blamed for mansplaining. Then you've got other instances where a woman can't clearly do the job, you have to do it for them. There's so many different examples we went through, right? But the kind of talking point here, right, the key point to finish on is like, how do you deal with these environments? And that's why I created my coaching program, which is essentially, you know, take control of your career to build power, pay, and freedom through essentially, you know, different techniques of what it's like to deal with toxic co-workers, difficult, how to deal with women in the office, the girl boss archetype, dealing with all types of scenarios, promotions, layoffs, how to navigate the job search, right? If you're focused on freedom and you want power, pay, and freedom, this is what I teach throughout my coaching program, because you're going to have to deal with at least some of these co-workers. You probably know the famous statistic that came out in a few years ago, where Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs did some research, and they said by 2030, 45% of women are going to be single, right? So that means in the next 5 years, almost half of women are going to be single. And there's also another statistic that about 70% of men are not in relationships with any woman. So you're going to have this continued break of the gender divide, right, of men and women not dating but having to work with each other even though they can't stand each other. This is the type of thing I'll help you teach you with, is how to navigate this work environment. It's going to become unavoidable. You have to deal with it in some way, shape, or form, right? And you have to deal with them in the service sector too. You're going to have to deal with like this in the service sector too. So there's all sorts of different dynamics here. Let me know in the comments how you feel about working with women in these type of environments. Tell me about some of your positive and negative experiences. There is a link in the description to work with me for coaching to deal with these crazy work environments, and 2 recommended videos on your screen right now. I'll see you next time.